Hello and welcome to the second video in our Getting Started with OAKS series. In this video, we will explore the Content Tool. Content is the most important and most used tool in OAKS. It's used in online and face-to-face classes and is the first tool you should get to know when you're first learning OAKS. Here is an example of the Content Tool in a class at CFC. On the left, you see the main modules for the course. These can be named anything you wish, and they're there to organize the materials for your students. Using a structure based on topic or time is recommended, as it helps the students from getting confused or lost in your course. Good organization is paramount to ensuring your students can get the information and the materials they need to be successful in your class. As I click on a module on the left, the items in that module appear on the right. Here you can see that in addition to modules, we also have submodules to help you organize your material even further. And you can also see that you can add almost any type of material to your course. Here you'll see we have a PDF, a Word document. These lectures are all from our VoiceThread integration. And here are web links. The user then clicks on the link to view the material. Now that you've seen what a content area can look like, let's get started creating your own. We'll begin in the class that we were working in our last video. And here I'll click on Content in the upper navigation. Now it can be a little intimidating when you first come in because your course is completely blank, but not for long. Let's start by adding your first module. On the left-hand side, note Add a Module in this box, and I'll click there. And our first module is normally our syllabus and any other starting course materials that you'd like to include. I'm just going to name it syllabus, and then I'm going to hit the return or the enter key on my keyboard, and that creates the module for us. As soon as I do that, you'll see on the right hand side this module opens up. Let's add another one, and we'll call this one Week 1. Now again, you can organize this however you want. Just make sure that it is intuitive to your students. They're your users. Now let's take a tour of one of our modules. In it, you will see the blue button. In OAKS, whenever you're unsure about what to do, choose either the blue button or a drop-down arrow. In this case, let's take a look at what's under the blue button. In here, I can upload files, which we will be doing. I can add audio or video. I can create a file from scratch. I can add a link to anything on the web. And then as I scroll down, I can add new assignments, new discussions, new quizzes as well. We won't be going over these today as they're a little bit more advanced, but we will be looking at how to upload files and how to create a link, as those are the most common things that you'll do in the content area. The next button to our right is Add Existing Activities. In here, this is where I can add an assignment or a discussion or anything else that has already been created. You'll also note that in addition to the OAKS tools, I can add things from Google Drive, OneDrive, I can do Turnitin Peermark, and under External Learning Tools, I can integrate with any of these items, such as Publisher's Material, Kaltura, which is our private YouTube, Akindi, which is like a bubble sheet Scantron system, library reading lists, etc. Again, these are a little bit more advanced, so we're not going to be covering those in our Getting Started videos. So let's begin by adding a file. I'm going to come here back to my syllabus module, and let's add our syllabus. Now I can do this in one of two ways. I can choose New, Upload Files, My Computer, Upload, and then I can select the file I want. Then I can just choose Add. Or I can find the file wherever it exists. In this case, I'm going to be using this file here on my desktop. And I can click, hold, and drag it in. Now you'll notice this blue line. If I were to release it now when the blue line is above what I've already added, this file will insert itself above, and if I were to let go of it now, it would insert itself below. But don't worry, because if you've placed it in the wrong area, you can move it easily by just clicking on the 8 little dots on the left-hand side of the name. Click, hold, and drag, and you can move it wherever you want. Now let's go into week 1, and let's explore a few other things. One is submodules. I think I would like to divide my weeks by lectures and PowerPoints, readings, and assessments. So I'm going to create 3 submodules. Now to do that, I want to make sure that I have clicked on my module on the left-hand side so that it opens here on the right. And at the bottom of every page, you'll see something that says Add a Submodule. Just like we did with our modules, I'll click here and type in the name of my submodule. And then I'll hit either Return or Enter on my keyboard. I'll repeat that process to make our last 2 submodules. Okay, so now you'll see that I have 3 submodules. And you'll also notice on the left-hand side that when I click week 1, those submodules do show up underneath it in a slightly indented fashion. Now we can begin adding things to each of these submodules. Here I will add this file, and I'm just dragging it into this area. Under reading, I will drag this into this area here. And again, I'm going to add one other thing into my reading area. If I accidentally place my file in the wrong area, it's not a big deal. Again, all I need to do is click the 8 dots in front and drag it to where I'd like it to be. So that's how you add files from your computer. The next feature I'd like us to look at is how to add a link to anything on the web. And that includes YouTube videos, readings, pretty much anything you want. From here, I have to click the New button. And under New, I'm going to choose Create a Link. Now the first thing I'm going to do is give this a title. This is the title the students will see. And in the second box, we'll paste the URL. I'm just going to go to the website that I want. I'm going to grab the URL, copy it using Command-C or Control-C, and then paste it using Command-V or Control-V. Now you'll see this that says Open as an External Resource. This means that it will open outside of OAKS. It'll open in a new window. If you don't want that to happen, uncheck that box. The reason is that user progress, which we learned about in video 1, where you can see how your students are interacting in the class, if you have Open as an External Resource selected, it will not track the user progress for that resource. So if I'd like to uncheck it, I can, and then hit Create. However, if you do that, note that not every link will open within OAKS. This is a prime example of one that doesn't. Washington Post will not. New York Times will not. So if you get this message, all you need to do is come to the drop-down arrow, choose Edit Link, and say Open as an External Resource. Now when the user clicks on it, it opens in a new window, and there's my article. Alright, so I'm going to come back into my week 1 here, and I now have content created. If you're interested in learning how to add things like activities, quizzes, discussions, etc. into your content area, please contact your instructional technologist or see our OAKS tutorials at tlt.cfc.edu. Before we finish this video, I'd like to talk a little bit about best practice. So you'll notice that when I added files from my computer, it just picked up the general file name. Often this doesn't mean anything to the student. So it's important when you're creating your course that you're really diligent about your file names. In this case, that's fine. However, down here, it's not. And I can change that name by choosing the drop-down arrow and saying Edit Properties in Place. Here, I can rename it to anything I want. In addition, down here under Add a Description, I can even put a description as to why I want you to read this or what I might want you to get out of this while you're reading it. This is really important in fully online classes, but can also be greatly beneficial in a face-to-face class. When you're finished, we'll just click Update. Now we have this description underneath our article.